Good morning, my students. Today we have lesson 3. We shall take another grammar topic. Today we shall talk about past simple. Past simple واتە ڕابردووی سادە. The general pattern واتە کڵێشەی گشتی we have this pattern: subject plus verb in past form plus complement. Subject واتە بکەر، past verb in past form فرمانێک بە شێوەی ڕابردوو، complement تەواو. Here verbs in English are divided into two groups: regular verbs and irregular verbs. Regular verbs we mean فرمانە ئاساییەکان and irregular فرمانە شازەکان. What do we mean by regular verbs? مەبەستمان چیە لە فرمانی ئاسایی؟ For regular verbs we add the suffix ed or d to form the past. واتە we add the suffix پاشگری ed or d یان d زیاد ئەەکەین to form the past بۆ دروستبوونی شێوەی ڕابردوو. For irregular verbs فرمانە شازەکان. In your book we have page number 108. Here in this page we have a list of irregular verbs. لەلاپەڕەی 108 لە کتێبی Sunrise 12 لیستێکمان هەیە بە فرمانە نائاساییەکان یاخود فرمانە شازەکان. The most common irregular verbs کە بریتین لە فرمانە زۆر باوەکان. Let's go back to our subject. We said we have subject, verb in past form, and complement. A, we shall talk about affirmative. Affirmative we mean array or مثبت. The pattern that we have subject plus verb in past form plus complement. For example, we say she traveled by air. She traveled by air. Here the verb travel is a regular verb because we added ed. Another example: the teacher explained a lesson well. Explain also is a regular verb مش فرمانێکی ئاساییە. New York population grew faster than before. Here we have the verb grew. It's an irregular verb فرمانة غير اعتيادية ناقصية because the base we have grow. When we change it to past it becomes grew, and for PP we have grown. Alan was upset. Alan was. Look at the verb was. The base of this verb is be. Verb to be, in past form we have was and were. Was for singular, watak, were for plural, boko. And we can say Tani and Nas were tired. Here we have the verb were. Tani and Nas were tired. They took their lunch quickly. They took. Took is also an irregular verb permanently غير اعتيادية because it didn't take ed, the suffix ed لبروي باشكلي ed وانا قلته. This is the affirmative أما حالتي مثبتة كي subject, verb in past form and complement. B, we have the negative form. Negative we mean نري or نفي. Here we have the following rule. Subject didn't plus verb base plus complement. Subject بكر didn't plus verb base كواتا بكر من هي فرماني ياريد داري didn't بدوا تشاوغيا بيسيا. We have a familiar mistake, a common mistake. Please pay attention to these auxiliary verbs, helping verb. Didn't, don't, doesn't. Didn't, we use it past, ama ورا بردو. Don't and doesn't for present, ورانا بردو. They are always preceded by verb base. قاتا هميشة بدوانا بيسية تشاوغيا. Let's take the first sentence. She traveled by air. If we change it to negative, we say she didn't travel by air. Didn't travel. فرماني travel اگر تبینیم که ایده كمان لك لو شكونا تيشو didn't هاتو didn't بدوها بيسيا. Or we can say they didn't take their lunch quickly. They didn't take their lunch quickly. When we have verb to be, as we said, in the past form verb to be we have was and were. We do not use didn't. كواتا لقل فرماني بي was were كيوزناك بو حالتنا فيه وشي didn't بكار بي. واتكلا شكي كهمانا بمشي ويليه. Subject plus wasn't or weren't, wasn't or were not plus complement. For example, we say she wasn't upset. Or we can say he wasn't lazy. Or we can say they weren't serious. See, we shall take the interrogative form. حالة شوي برسالي حالة استفهامية. We have this pattern, this rule, did. For negative question, we say did not plus subject plus verb base plus complement. كواتا وياسا سريكي كهمانا did وبرسالي نفي alين did not subject زائد فرمانك بشوي تشاوك. In case of verb to be, لحالة يبوني verb to be, we shall use this pattern. Was, were, subject, plus complement. We shall take some examples. Did you revise well? Did you revise well? أهب باشي مراجعة كردو. Or we can say, didn't they arrive late? Or we can say, was she interested? Or we can say, were they inside the classroom? It means with the main verb, revise, we use did. لقل فرماني سريكي revise وحالتي برسار كرنا كفت did بكاريني. But with the verb to be was and were, we just front the was verb to be in front of the subject. فوات لقل verb to be was were تنها verb to be كاخينا بردم subject بكرو حالتي برسارة كدروس تبين. He uses بكار هنا. Use the past simple tense for something that happened completely in the past. We often use it with a time reference. Such as Go, yesterday, last, or it could be any past time. Uses بكار هنا. Use the past simple tense كاتا الزمني كاتي رابردوي سادة بكارينين for something بوشتك that happened رويداوا. Or we can say that took place completely بطوابي in the past لرابردوتا كاتا كاتكي بسرشوا. We often heard them use it بكاريين with a time reference such as كواتا عادة أو adverb of time كهمانا أو أول فرمانا كاتياني كهمانا بريتيا بن لا ago لمو بيش yesterday دوينه last رابردو or any past time هر كاتيكي رابردو. For example, we say she visited me yesterday. Or we can say last year we faced many difficulties. She visited me yesterday. Yesterday is an adverb of time which is usually used with the past simple tense. And last year, Sali Rabardu, we faced many difficulties. Last also it's an adverb of time, which is usually used with the past simple tense. Past perfect. We have another title, عنوان كتاب زمان هي past perfect واتا رابردوي تواو ياخذ رابردوي دور. The general pattern كل شيء سركي كل شيء قشتي بود روزبوني past perfect we have subject plus had plus the past participle of a verb plus complement. We have the subject بكر had زائد verb PP وهذا قراني سيمي فرمان. Here also we have regular verbs and irregular verbs. فرماني أسايونا أسايمان here. For regular verbs like the past form وكو حالتي رابردو we just add the suffix ed or d, but for irregular verbs you'd better look at the page 108 in your book. We have a list of the most common irregular verbs قايميك با أو فعل ناقصة يعني كالزور باون. A affirmative حالتي أري or مثبت. As we said, we have subject had plus past participle of a verb plus complement. For example, we can say they had chosen Ali the monitor. They had chosen, had plus chosen. Chosen is an irregular verb. The base we have choose, al-Bjarden, chose, chosen. Or we can say He had studied in different countries. He had studied. Studied is a regular verb. Permaniki asaiya, the ed boba pp. Or we can say she had been here for a long time. She had been here. Had plus been. Been is the past participle of verb to be. Be. When we change it to past, it becomes was or were. For PP, we have been. Me, negative form. حالة النرى ناخذ نفي. We have this pattern: subject plus had plus not plus the past participle of a verb complement. فاتبقى حالتنا فيه we just add not تنها not اجزاء كين بصير هادك بيبقى had not يعني hadn't زائد verb pp. For example, we can say they hadn't chosen Ali their monitor. Or we can say he hadn't studied in different countries. See the interrogative form. Hata halati perser kırdın, perseri istifhami. Here we just front the auxiliary had كاين السرتاوة plus subject adverb كر plus the past participle of the verb وراني سيمي فرمانو plus complement. For example, we can say had you been here before? Or we can say had they finished the homework? Or we can say had she sent you a request? Had she sent you a request? هیچ طلبێکی داواکاریێکی بۆ ناردووی؟ See uses بەکارهێنان. Use the past perfect to show that something had happened before another time or action in the past. We can show the time connection with after, when, as soon as, before, until, and by. Uses بكار هنا. Use the past perfect رابردوی دور یان رابردوی تەواو بەکار بێنە to show that بۆ دەرخستنی something شتێک had happened ڕوویدا بوو. Before لە پێش another time کاتێکی تر or action یان ڕووداوێکی تر in the past لە ڕابردوودا. کاتە لێرە ئێمە چیمان هەیە پێکەوە بەستنی دوو ڕوودا و دەرخستنی ئەوەی کامیان لە پێش کامیانەوە ڕوویداوە. We can show the time connection. پەیوەندی ئەم کاتە توانین بە چی دەربخەین؟ با یەکێک لەم ئاوەڵ فەرمانانە after دوای when کاتێک as soon as هەرکە before لە پێش until هەتاکو by لە. To show the connection between these two actions بۆی پەیوەندی بینی ئەم دوو ڕووداوە دەرخین we shall take this rules ئەم یاسایانە وەرەگرین when after as soon as. As we said, وەکوتمان, we have connection between two events, two past actions, کەواتە پەیوەندیەکمان هەیە لە بینی دوو ڕووداوەکە لە ڕابردووە ڕوویاوە. When, after, as soon as, they are usually preceded by first event. ڕووداوی یەکەم, then we have the second event. ڕووداوی دووەم. First event, ڕووداوی یەکەم, we usually use past perfect. As we said, as soon as, when, after, they are preceded by the first event, ڕووداوی یەکەم بە دوایانە, and then we have the second event, ئەجا ڕووداوی دووەم. First event, we usually it in the past perfect tense. بە حاڵەتی ڕابردووی تەواو بەکارێنین, while the second event we use past simple. ڕابردووی سادە بەکارێنین. After, before, before is usually comes at the beginning of the second event. بەردەمی ڕووداوی دووەم بەکارێنین. Then we have the first event. ئەجا ڕووداوی یەکەممان هەیە. We also use for the second event past simple. ڕابردووی سادە بەکارێنین. For the first event we use past perfect. Until we have the second event, then we have the first event, For second event, we usually use past simple, رابط السادة. For the first event, برضو داوية كما usual past perfect. كاتب الشويكي قشتي قصيرين ينسانا بكين. First event رداوية كم لها مو حالة كان بريتيلا past perfect رابط بيتواب. While the second event رداوي دوم لها مو حالة كان بريتيلا past simple. فأتا أو connectiony أو ربطيك همانا أو بيونديك همانا لبين the two times the two events دو رداوكم. أو إيكا first event رداوية كم همو كاتي we use past perfect. But for the second event, we usually use past simple. We shall take some examples. After she decided to work in publishing, she decided to move to New York. Before some passengers got off the train, it reached the station. If we want to bring out the verb out of the breaks, look, after, we said that after usually comes at the beginning of the first event. For stage 1, we have she decided. Here we use the past simple tense. زمني رابط سادة بكاراتوا. فأترسل رداوية كما كبريتير بلا past perfect. Then, when we put the verb out of the breaks, we say after she had decided to work in publishing, she decided to move to New York. Before some passengers got off the train, it reached the station. We said that before, before we have second events. كواتا رداوي دوما. رستي دوما بيتا رداوي يكم. Before some passengers got is the past simple form. أما الشيوي رابط بالسادير. كواتا the first event رداوي يكم, we must use past perfect. Exactly, we say before some passengers got off the train, it had reached the station. Another example. When he had studied French, he, between two breaks, we have traveled to France. When he had studied French, he traveled to France. Look at the first sentence. When he had studied. Had studied, the first event, and we have used here past perfect. A better past simple. Exactly, we say, when he had studied French, he traveled to France. With the past perfect tense, we have another time connection. By. But we can use it in two different ways. بدو شوي جواز بكارينين. First, by past time. Then we have past perfect. قاطع احتمال يكمل دوای وشي باي كاتێکی ڕابردوومان هەبێ کاتێکی ڕابردوو نۆکم ڕستە کاتێکی ڕابردوو past time. Then we use past perfect اینجا ڕابردووی تەواو بەکارێنین. For example, we say by the New York population had passed 1 million. By لێرەم کاتە 1900 کاتێکی ڕابردووە. کاتە ڕستەکەی بەرامبەری the New York population دانیشتوانی نیویۆرک had passed. We use past perfect. بەکارهێنانی دووەمی by ئەڵێن by the time لەو کاتەی. By the time, it should be always preceded by a limited time, a limited past time or a limited past action. كواتا عادة by the time كاتيكي رابردوي دياري كراومان هي كواتا بدوايا we have past simple, then we use past perfect. By the time عادة بدوايا الرستية رستكش بكوتمان we should have a limited time كاتيكي دياري كراومان هبه بويا we usually use past simple then past perfect. We can say by the time they came I had finished typing the report. By the time they came كاتك ما رابردو كواترا لو كاتي اوان هاتن I had finished typing the report. تايبي رابورتكم تاو كربو. Or we can say by the time he reached the age 18, he had visited different places around the world. By the time he reached the age 18, لو كاتي تمني بوبو بهجدسا. Here we have past simple tense كاتي كرابردو من هي. He had visited. سرداني تنشويني كي جاوازي كربو للجهاندا. Here we have had visited past perfect. Treasure Island للتراري reader book أمش لكتابي أدبة كمان من بابتي Treasure Island episode 1 دوباش من بذكر A و B. Today we shall talk about episode 1 part C, باش C, under the title The Black Spot. After the fight with Black Dog, the captain seemed both weak and excited. He offered to pay Jim a silver for penny if the boy brought him some rum, some wine. After the fight with Black Dog, دوای شەڕەکەی Captain Bill لەگەڵ Black Dog, the captain seemed, looked, وا دیار بوو, both weak, لاواز, and excited, بەڵام دڵخۆش بوو بۆی کە لە شەڕەکەی لەگەڵ Black Dog سەرکەوتوو بووە. He offered to pay Jim, offered یعنی پێشکەشی کرد, to pay Jim a silver fourpenny. Fourpenny بریتە لە ئەملەیەک پارەیەک کە ئەو بڕە پارەی باتێ if the boy brought him some rum. ئەگەر کوڕەکە هەندێ شەرابی بۆ بێنێ, some wine. The boy reminded him to pay what he had owed his father. Then Jim gave the captain a glass of rum and he drank it quickly. He offered to pay Jim a silver fourpenny if the boy brought him some rum or some wine. The boy reminded him, Giri Christoa, to pay what he had owed his father. Captain, since he arrived at Admiral Benbow, Admiral Benbow, he hadn't paid his پارەیەکی نێوە بە Jim's father, بە باوکی Jim, بەرامبەر بەو خواردنی کە خواردوێتی و ئەو خواردنەوە و حەقی مانەوەی لە ئوتێلەکە. Then Jim gave the captain, اینجا Jim ئەیا بە captain, a glass of rum, پەرداخی لە شەراب. He drank it quickly, ئەویش بە خێرایی ئەیخواتەوە. The captain began narrating his story to Jim, that he was the old prince's classmate. The captain began, Captain Dasakaba, narrating Jaranaway his story, Chiroki Khoi, but Jim, that he was the old prince's first mate, ka jegriye kami captaini kashti old prince bo. Kata old prince leraduna dawrabine, the name of a ship, nai paporaka, domishan, the name of the captain of the ship, nai captaini paporaka sharbritella Flint's. The captain of the Flint, of the old Flint, had given Bill something while he was dying. And Bill had kept it in his sea chest, which was most wanted by the others. Including Black Dog. The captain of the Auckland, Captain Papori Auckland, had given Bill something, شتيكي داوى Bill, while he was dying, لسرمريا. And Bill had kept it, Billish amshtelesha parastwa, in his sea chest, لسنقاكي which was most wanted, كأمسنوقا زور أويسترا by the others, للان خلقاني تروا. فاتا أواني كبدوي كابتن آقرن, هميان they were seeking for his sea chest, بدوي سنوقا كآقرن, including لناو أو كساني كشاجة قريتو Black Dog. كواتا إيشي Black Dog يشارتي با he was looking for that thing بدوي أوشتي آقرن. After that, he ordered the boy to bring him the doctor, the magistrate, and the rest of all Prince crew to the Admiral Benbow. If they got the black spot on the captain or if Jim, Sir, Black Dog, or the sailor with one leg around again. After that, Pajwa, he ordered Amri Kirbasar, the boy Kuraka, to bring him the doctor, Kadiktor Bene, magistrate Hakam, Palekata doctor, magistrate Yakshaksi, and the rest of all Flint's crew were Baki Takmaki all Flint's, Oanika Lakashtiakabun Legal Captain Isalajiana Malin, to the Admiral Benbow, Boy Benebo Baraka, if they got the black spot on the captain. اگر black spot يعني pala اگر ام pala رشا درابا captain or if Jim saw Black Dog يعني اگر Jim Black Dog or the sailor يعني درياوانكي with one leg كي تنهاي قاسي هي around again لو دورو برا جاري كتر هيك لو دواني بيني. He promised to give Jim half of everything if he did what he had asked him to do. He, what as the captain, promised to give Jim پەیمانی دا وعدی دا to give Jim half of everything نیوەی هەموو شتێک با بە Jim if he did ئەگەر بیکە what he had asked him to do ئەوەی کە ئەم داوای لێ کردەوە بۆی بکە. Later that evening Jim's father died suddenly. And he forgot all about the captain. درنگ لەو ئێوارەدا Jim's father died باوکی Jim ئەمرێ suddenly لە ناکاو and he forgot لە بیری چووە all about the captain هەموو شتێک دەربارەی captain. A day after that the captain came downstairs to drink rum and sing. ڕۆژێک دوای ئەوە the captain came downstairs captain لە ژوورەکەی خۆردی خۆی دێتە خوارەوە بۆ خواردنەوەی شەراب لەگەڵ گۆرانی وتن. He looked weak and he was getting worse. Captain زۆر لاواز دیار بوو و باری تەندروستیشی بەرەو خراپترە ڕۆی. After some days, while Jim was standing at the indoor, another visitor a horrible blind man arrived and asked the boy to take him to the cat. After some days, past چند ڕۆژێک while Jim was standing لە کاتێکدا Jim وەستا بوو at the window لەناو دەرگای باڕەکە another visitor میوانێکی تر a horrible blind man کابرایەکی فێری ترسناک arrived ئەگاتە ئەوێ and asked the boy to take him to the captain داوە لە کوڕەکەکە بیبە بۆ لای captain. The blind man put something into the frightened captain's hands. Then he left immediately. The blind man پیاوەشوارەکە put something into the frightened captain's hand. شتێکە کاتە ناو دەستە ترساوەکانی کاپتنەوە دەستی کاپتن ئەلەرزێ. Then he left immediately. یەکسەر باڕەکە بەجێ ئەهێڵێ. The captain looked down at the thing in his hand, cried out something about time, tried to stop, but he fell to the floor dead. The blind man put something, Cabra Shwaraka Stegakata now, into the frightened captain's hand, now the Sitter Sawakani captain. Then he left immediately, Exar Arwa. The captain looked down at the thing in his hand. Serikishti now Desti Khoyaka, cried out, Hawarigaka, something, Hawarishtegaka, about time, Darbarikat, Wataqsegaka Kaksaka, Natwani Litibri. Tried to stop, Ewe Haseta Serka, but he fell, Akawet, to the floor. Akweta Sar Ars, dead, Abba Bakasiki Murdu, Wata Amir.